A child with autism cover their ears or refuse to wear certain clothes. This is not bad behavior. This is due to sensory processing challenges which many of our children with autism experience. In this video, I'm going to discuss some of the challenges and also give you some solutions for it. So to begin with, we all have 5 senses which we all are aware of. But do you know we also have 3 hidden senses, which is vestibular sense, proprioceptive sense, and also interoceptive sense. And many children with autism, they struggle with the 5 senses plus these 3 hidden senses. Now, there might be lots of sensory issues which you might notice in your child with autism, like they might cover their ears around certain voices, like if there's a vacuum cleaner or if there's a blender, pressure cooker, any of those noises can be really painful for your child with autism, and they will immediately cover their ears. Secondly, children with autism are picky eaters. Certain textures of food, certain smells also might be very painful for your child with autism, and they might totally reject some of those foods. Many children with autism also crave oral input, where you will notice your child with autism always putting things in their mouth. They might put some clothes in their mouth, or they might try to put everything in their mouth because their mouth is craving that oral pressure. Also, bright lights, that can be very, very harsh for your child with autism. Environment with lots of clutter, lots of things around, that can also be extremely painful for your child with autism. You might also notice your child with autism has trouble sitting in one place. They might be constantly on the move. My own son struggles with it even to this day. It is really hard for him to sit in one place, and he has to move in order to self-regulate. Also, some children with autism can engage in visual stimming, where they might look through the corner of their eyes, or maybe they might make some kind of finger movements and constantly look at that. Also, many children with autism, they have weak fine motor skills. So doing everyday tasks like activities of daily living, writing, buttoning the shirts, or any of those activities, eating, feeding themselves, lots of activities, it might impact their daily functioning, and they might really struggle with lots of fine motor skills. Also, children with autism can struggle with gross motor skills. They might have poor balance, poor coordination. They might not be able to do certain activities like jumping, hopping, which many children otherwise do it very easily. So lots of sensory issues and lots of ways parents, you can see your child with autism might demonstrate these issues. Always make sure you contact the occupational therapist who is trained in sensory integration, so they can give you strategies in order to help your child. Stimming is the way children with autism self-regulate themselves. So you might see your child with autism flapping their hands or rocking or putting things in their mouth. So these are all stimming. And stimming is for self-regulation. It is not autism specific, but stimming is the way children with autism regulate themselves. They feel good in their body. And it is not harmful at all. And we don't need to stop our child from stimming unless they are trying to hurt themselves or people around them. Then yes, immediately we need to intervene. And we have to contact occupational therapist, board certified behavior analyst, who can help you to help your child in order to stop the dangerous stims. The other thing you can do is, if your child covers their ears around certain noises, like I mentioned, you can give them noise cancelling headphones. Noise cancelling headphones are very helpful, and they will help your child to be calm by blocking out certain noises. Lots of children with autism, they also crave deep pressure. Deep pressure is extremely calming for the child's body. So you might see that your child might like deep pressure, they might like hugs. So lots of times weighted lap pads, weighted vest, and lots of things with heavy weights are used in order to help our child feel calm. If your child is into lot of mouthing and putting things into their mouth, then also there are Chewy tubes which are available. The Chewy tubes come in different sizes. They come with different thickness, and they can be helpful for your child with autism in order to help them to get the oral sensory input which they might be seeking. Lots of children with autism, including my own son, they are toe walkers, and that can be extremely painful to walk on their toes all day. So AFOS, it's called ankle foot orthotics. They are very beneficial for children with autism. Also some stretching exercises. So you can contact your occupational therapist or a physiotherapist who can also help you with that. For fine motor skills, what you can do is you can maybe get a bucket and fill it with beans or rice or those kinds of items and hide little toys into it, and let your child with autism put their hands in and try to look out for the toys that can address the tactile issues, the sense of touch, which many of our children with autism struggle with. They might also be very sensitive to certain kinds of clothing, like scratchy clothing, clothing with tags. That can be really hard for our children with autism. So you can get seamless clothing, socks, t-shirts, so which will be very beneficial for our children with autism. Also, regarding the environment at home, make sure that there is not too much clutter. Don't put too many things on the wall. If your child with autism is sitting and working at the table, make sure they only have things which they will need for the immediate activity. Don't have a lot of things, because that might certainly overwhelm your child with autism. So these are some of the general strategies which can help your child with autism for their sensory processing. Many children with autism also struggle with interoceptive sense. That is the sense of our body, of the internal things or the internal sensations which our body experiences. Many of our children, they struggle with it. So you might see your child might not feel hungry and they might not eat for long periods of time. Or sometimes they might not go to the washroom because they don't have that sensation in them and they might struggle with it. Also, lots of children with autism, they love to spin or they love sitting on the swings. They love rocking. So lots of these activities, they do help with the vestibular sense and also the proprioceptive sense, like the deep pressure, joint compressions. These all helps with the proprioceptive sense. Always make sure you contact your own occupational therapist who can guide you with it. So I hope you find this video useful. I have given some general strategies which many children with autism struggle with and also some solutions to it. So I hope you like this video and also subscribe to my channel, because I release weekly videos like this to help you support your child with autism without overwhelm. Thank you so much for listening, and I will be back next week with a new video.